welcome back to my channel. This is Kat. Today I would like to share with you how I picked my graduate program to continue my PhD study because, as an international student, many people are wondering which country to pick, which program to pick because, this is a life-changing decision, right? And it definitely costs a lot. So today, let me share with you my experience. Hopefully, it can help you to make your decision easier and faster. Before we start, please like and subscribe to support my channel so I can provide more useful content for all of you, both international students or students who are looking for the next step of their career. So let's get started. So first, I think as an international student, you really want to know that which country you want to study. So for example, I'm from China, so my options are basically everywhere else outside China. So on my list at that time is United States, United Kingdom, or Europe in general, Australia, and everywhere else, for example, Israel. A couple things to help me narrow down to United States in the end. So I will just go through it one by one. So first of all, I think it's definitely the language and the culture by itself. So, to me, English-speaking countries are my top choices because I speak English. So it is not gonna be a problem for me to go to an English-speaking country because I speak their language, compared to, Germany or France, where I have to learn a second language. So that was quite easy for me. I think because I also have been living in the United States for a long time. So picking United States is quite easy for me. However, I would like to share with you, I have friends who are also from China, but in Germany, in France, in Israel. So before they go in there, they have to spend quite a period of time to study the second language. Well, so to them, it's a third language. So for example, my friend who is currently in Germany pursuing his PhD, he spent about a year in China studying German. A lot of my friends actually went to Europe because my college actually was founded by German. Actually, there are more people study German than GRE, for example, back in college. And this is quite unique for my college, but that is definitely something you have to consider before going to the country that you want to pursue your graduate studies. At least according to my friend in Germany, they teach everything in English. For example, in classes, that's fine. You can, pick it up as long as you speak English. However, if you want to have a life outside of your lab, outside the school, everybody speaks German, right? So speaking German definitely helps. You go to the restaurant, you go to buy groceries, you hang out with friends. So I would say if you really dedicate full time to study German, that still takes, a couple months up to a year. And it's a continual learning process, right? So if you're interested in another language and you're interested in Europe because of their beautiful culture and architecture, I would say definitely allocate your time to study the local language. So other than the language, as I mentioned, the culture is a very important part as well. So even you speak English, British English and American English are very different, right? Actually, as a Chinese, it's kind of weird because we kind of grew up in British English. But then growing up, I kind of switched to American English because, all the soap operas and all these TV shows that I watched, like Gossip Girls. So I just like the culture in America in general. I watch their soap operas, I watch their TV shows, I love their crime shows. I just like a lot of things from America. So that's why I think America was also my top choice. But I also have friends who went to UK for their college, went to the UK for their master's degree or PhD degrees. You may be a person who really into BBC shows, right? You really like this elegant British accent. So maybe you really enjoy walking down the beautiful British streets. So, that's your choice. Other than language and culture, I think definitely you have to pay attention to the study focus that you want to do for your graduate school. Because different schools have different priorities, right? So for example, back then, I'm very interested in biomedical science. So I was definitely looking at schools in the United States because they have top schools really good at developmental biology, neuroscience, and genetics. So because I'm interested in those areas, and I think the professors that I'm interested are all in United States, right? So then it's just a no-brainer for me. But you know, if your favorite professors are in UK or in Israel, right, you probably should prioritize that because, you know, most of the time of your PhD you are in that lab. So actually, speaking of Israel, I remember the fun facts of the culture difference, right? I have a friend who's studying his PhD in Israel now. So he was telling me because of the Jewish tradition, they don't have the Saturday and Sunday off. They have the Friday and Saturday off. So most of his friends go back home every weekend for their, you know, religious traditions. However, you know, in his case, he just stuck in a dorm and all the cafeteria also closed really early. So he has to remember later on that buy his dinner much earlier, so you know he has food to eat. So it's just very interesting, I think, to me, that before going to the country of your interest, you really want to study the culture there. So another point I think you have to consider is the traveling. So to me, I think it's definitely troublesome going from China to United States because China and the United States are exactly on the opposite of the earth. So it takes me pretty much about 20 hours to go back home if I want to. This makes it really hard to go back home frequently. It is really difficult for my parents and families to come to visit me. So far in the past 6 years in the United States, I've only been home twice. If you're a person close to your families and friends in your hometown, you want to go back there every, let's say, 6 months or a year, maybe pick a country that is closer to your hometown, right? So for example, maybe you're from Europe, you want to go to UK instead of United States. Or if you're from South America, you would prefer to come to United States, not UK or Europe, right? So speaking of travel, another very important thing is the visa, okay? Because visa stands for the entry permits of a country. So you need a valid visa to enter your country. So in my case, it was very difficult for me to get a visa from the United States as a Chinese who studied biology. Apparently, it is a very sensitive matter. So I only got 1 year visa for re-entry United States. That's also another reason that I don't go back to my home country that frequently, because as soon as I go back to China, I cannot come back unless the 2 trips are within a year. And also when I go back to China, if I want to renew my visa, it took so long that, you know, being a PhD student, you just cannot do that. So I remember last time I went back to China, I was stuck in China for 5-6 weeks, which is already quite a normal time or shorter time compared to my friends. I have a friend who had a horrible experience because he went back and he was stuck there for half a year. But you know, he was a PhD student, so his PI has to find a lab in China that they collaborate, so my friend can go to the lab in China and continue his PhD for, you know, 6 months. So all these things you have to consider before making a move to pick a country for your PhD studies. After you pick the country, it's much easier because you can search the schools that you want to apply by either ranking or by the lab that you're interested. Okay? I would say back then I definitely just went to US News and then did that by ranking. And just, you know, apply pretty much the top schools that I'm interested. I knew I was interested in neurodevelopment or genetics, so I was more looking into those programs. And US News also provides rankings within the graduate programs as well. So one thing I want to bring your attention to is application fees, right? You cannot apply to unlimited schools because of financial reasons. Every school, at least in the United States, costs you about $150 to $200 to apply. The reason for that is because you need to pay an application fee. So it varies among different schools for application fees, but I would say among all the schools that apply, it's around $100, okay? And then you have to add the cost of, you have to submit your GRE, and in my case, my TOEFL score because it's an English efficiency test. And then you have to request those scores and send to them. Those cost extra as well. Because of the financial reasons, you have to pick a limited number of schools that you can apply, unless of course you don't care about money. So one small tip here, that was also a reason that I apply certain schools, because There are a couple of schools in the United States, they don't require application fees. So imagine every time you're saving $100, every time you're saving $100, another school saving $100. You know, you just feel happy by the application process. Anyway, that was my experience. So I feel really happy about it. So of course, another way to pick your graduate program or the school is based in the cities, right? Because I'm from a metropolitan city in China, so I would prefer, staying in a relatively big city in the United States as well. It just fits my lifestyle. I like going out for foods, for fun in general. So that was one of my considerations as well. But also, I'm also curious about the life in college towns. I did apply for some schools in those small college towns as well. But now, if I look back, actually after I interviewed there, I didn't really like the vibe in a small town. But if you are a country girl or boy, you like the feeling of those little homey college towns, of course, I think that should be on your priority list as well. So I think this is very important because you're gonna live in that city for the next 5-6 years or even longer, right? So I think the city is very important as well. Also, look at the crime rate, because at least from China, I feel quite unsafe coming to the United States at the beginning, because all the gun rights here, that people can legally have guns at their home. Right? Because of that, in certain cities in the United States, the crime rate is pretty high. So just do your research, find the city that the school is in is safe, okay? I think that is very important because before coming here, I heard some terrible extreme cases that, students were robbed or even some worse case happened. So especially, as a girl, back then I was in my early 20s, and I have to really consider my personal safety, and I think this is very important here as well. So I hope what I've shared can help you narrow down your list of schools, and good luck on all your graduate school applications. And I will definitely do a video about how you prepare your graduate school application package as well, including the personal statement, how to prepare GRE, and also how to interview. So thank you so much for watching. Please comment below if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video.